Today is February the 9th, 2017, calendar of Pope Gregory. And today we stand here again in front of the offices of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers in Phoenix, Arizona, which also happens to have as a neighbor one of the chapters of the Chase Bank, one of the financial accomplices to the Dakota Access Pipeline, which at this moment, as of yesterday afternoon, we have been informed that due to the machinations and illegal executive actions of Mr. Donald Trump, who is sitting in the office of the President of the United States, by authorizing the fast-tracking of the permit in violation of due process, in violation of civil rights, not only of the Standing Rock Sioux tribal members who depend on that water for the single sole source of fresh drinking water, but also in violation of the civil rights of all downstream constituencies of the Missouri River, whose environmental justice rights are also being violated by the situating of the pipeline under the Missouri River at that location in discrimination against, for example, the site that was positioned to take place just north of Bismarck, which they rejected. The Standing Rock Sioux tribal community also rejected. The Ochetasakuan and all of the subsequent camps of water defender resistors have also rejected the situating and the implementation and the execution of the pipeline underneath the Missouri River at the confluence of the Cannonball, which stands right there still to today in defense of the water defender nations at the treaty territories which underlie the actual drill site. As we have said, we've been informed as of yesterday that the drilling in violation of these rights, the treaty rights, the civil rights, the human rights, and the environmental justice rights, not only of us human constituencies, but all other life forms of the territory of the Missouri River watershed, is taking place as we speak, in complicity and collusion with the criminal cohort that has been led by the Dakota Access Pipeline Energy Transfer Partners, the head of the monster. We also know that these Petropolis projects, the projects of pipelines across the continent and across the globe, such as also have been occurring due to the wars of Petropolis in Syria, are part of a global mechanism of imperialism at the highest level of corporatocracy. The corporate consortia of Petropolis controlling policy, dictating policy at the highest levels, from the state offices of the Presidency of the United States to the offices of the World Bank, to the offices of the climate change negotiations. All of these entities in spaces in the national and international and even the domestic and local levels are controlled by the corporations of Petropolis, the fossil fuel industry planetarily, to the point where now we as the Continental Commission, Abya Yala, in denunciation of the war crime of international aggression being committed in collusion and complicity with the man sitting in the office of the Presidency of the United States, Mr. Donald Trump. He is not only not our president, they are not our SS. They are not our settler state republic. We are the original nations of this continent, and we take the act of war, we take the crime of war, the war crime of international aggression, of fast-tracking the permit at the Dakota Access Pipeline drill site, as an act of war not only against the confederacies of the Ochetasakuan, with whom we have treaties very similar, of the same nature as the North American as the NATO agreement, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. We as original nations of our continent, Abya Yala, also have a treaty of alliance and mutual support and solidarity. And we come to the forefront to declare at this moment, in front of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers office here in Phoenix, Arizona, persona non grata, we're also here to declare that this act of war, this war crime, by the fast-tracking of the permitting process at the drill site at Standing Rock to facilitate the Dakota Access Pipeline, the Energy Transfer Partners consortium of criminal cohorts, including Mr. Donald Trump, is to be taken from this moment forward as a declaration of war, not only against our relatives of the North in the Confederacy of the Eagle, the Ochetasakuan, the Mandan, Hidatsa, and all of the other confederacies whose homeland is shared by the watershed of the Missouri, We take this as a declaration of war of all of our confederacies of nations at the continental level. The declaration and crime of warfare by the fast-tracking permit at the Dakota Access Pipeline drill site is taken from this moment forward, and the indicators are given. The information is brought forward. The denunciation is made to the international community to come to our assistance in the name of world peace, to provide an opportunity for the treaty issues to be addressed in a manner just according to the principles of international law, which since 2007, the United Nations Declaration of 2007, we have been ascribed equality as peoples equal to all of the peoples in the international legal system. Therefore, we call for the peacekeeping mechanisms of the UN system to come to our aid and assistance so that these issues can be addressed justly in the international venues, which is their appropriate venue. You cannot deal justly with a treaty issue involving an indigenous nation and a U.S. jurisdiction in a U.S. court. You can't deal with that in an administrative procedure of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. You can't deal with that justly in the domestic arena of a U.S. federal court, a local court, or even a dog catcher can't deal with this issue justly. This has to be taken to the international arena. That space has to be opened. That space has to be created. And we can say once again, we know now that the Army of the U.S. Army is operational in this act of war crime, complicit. That's why we're here today, to denounce and proclaim them non grata as an accomplice to the acts of war and crimes of war at the drill site in Dakota, but also the state police, the local police, the paramilitary police, the private police that the corporation itself has contracted. The largest private police force in the world is in operation now in the territory of Dakota. All of these are to be denounced as accomplices for the war crime taking place right now. And just as then and now, these police forces arrayed against us at the drill site. The same thing happened in '73. We're not being allowed even to approach the drill site. We are being blocked from even approaching the highway to the drill site by the blockade. The same thing as in '73, when the Wounded Knee Chiefs went to the UN. They were blocked at the sidewalk. You couldn't even get to the sidewalk in front of the UN because the UN system was not capable of acknowledging the nationhood of indigenous nations, and therefore it has taken from then till now, '73 to 1999, when the treaty study was finally finalized by Dr. Miguel Alfonso Martinez. This is where we pick up the fight now. We demand that the treaty study that was the final outcome document of the conflict of Wounded Knee '73 be brought to the forefront, that it be presented at the drill site of the Dakota Access Pipeline in the Dakota territories at the convergence of the Cannonball and Missouri River, to the issue of addressing world peace and acting as agents of world peace, acting as nations of Mother Earth in defense of world peace, acknowledging once again, once and for all and once, that water is life, and if we wish to have peace on earth, we must have peace with Mother Earth, and the spirit of water in sacred ceremonial presence, reality, and life-giving powers is what convokes us and mandates us once again to take our place among the star nations, among the nations of Mother Earth, to convene the spirit of justice, to gather at the convergence of the Cannonball and the Missouri River to the purpose of realizing our self-determination and our peace with Mother Earth, along with all of our other sister nations, of all of the other watersheds of Mother Earth, for the simple reason, the reason is simple: world, water, one. Yeah, PL, go to hell. We don't want your dirty oil. We don't want your stinking money. As standing rock we will stand. For the water and the land, future generations are at hand. Kill the black snake now. The APL, go to hell. We don't want your stinking oil. We don't want your dirty money. As standing rock we will stand. For the water and the land, future generations are at hand. Kill the black snake now. Ayo!